thank you very much. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Alex. Actually, Alex, thank you for bringing USID Alumni Association here. I think the first time we have a joint event. I tried to convince Gordon to come here to give a talk, and I think finally it's a combination of your association and IFPRI that really made this happen. Thank you, Gordon. So Gordon is truly a leader in our profession and a great communicator, as you have seen. He can communicate very complex issues using very simple stories. So he's a storyteller. But equally important, he was a donor to IFPRI when he was the president of Rockefeller Foundation. By the way, IFPRI actually was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation together with the Ford Foundation and IDRC. We thank you for your great, obviously you served in our board. I remember I missed your, probably the last board meeting. I think you left IFPRI board in around 1995, right? When IFPRI celebrated its 20 years anniversary. And I remember we had an event somewhere in Crystal City. That was the last time I saw you. You were affiliated with IFPRI at that time. So thank you for your great work, Gordon. So some of the takeaway messages from me, one is, yeah, despite all the progress we have achieved for the last 4 or 5 decades, the Green Revolution, you know, the NDGs achievement and so on, our current food system is not sustainable. So if we continue to produce the food as the way we have done, I don't think we have enough water, we have enough land, we have enough energy to do that. So our food system is not sustainable. And also our food system does not produce nutritious food. As Mark said, most of subsidies are very much linked to grain production, rice, wheat, and maize. I think 3 major cereal crops. Not much support or subsidies to other crops, vegetables, fruits, or dairy production. I think many crops actually government tax them. So we are facing some challenges. Now, Gordon proposed a solution, the answer, right? In sustainable intensification. I think this is a great idea, but I wanted to expand the sustainable intensification to include maybe 2 dimensions. One is nutrition. You mentioned about that. Intensification for nutrition. So not simply for more rice, more wheat, or for more maize. So for nutrition. So the key word from that sentence action is to produce more with less. Again, Gordon mentioned that. But more nutrition, less water, less energy, less land, less fertilizers, and absolutely less carbon emission. So more with less, I like that terminology. Now, some of the solutions include technological solutions, technology. The technology has worked, but in the future, the technology, particularly one from CGIAR, Jonathan mentioned, must have multiple wins. In the past, we have very much worked on yield, right? More yield, high yielding varieties from 1 ton, 2 tons to 3 tons, 4 tons, as Gordon mentioned, in the case of maize or corn. I think in the future, we should really bring more nutrition there. It's not just a simply tonnage. Nutrition is very critical there. Then all kinds of, let's say, tolerances, stress tolerances, disease tolerance, and so on. And the nutrition, biofortification is a good example. So we have some technologies that can deliver multiple wins. Let's say in IFPRI, at the IFPRI International Rice Research Institute, they have some newer rice varieties that can enhance the yield, reduce the carbon emission, use the water, fertilizer more efficiently. I really hope in the future, the vitamin A or other vitamins or minerals, zinc and iron, can also build into that. So we really have a super rice. It's green, sustainable, nutritious. Then I also think the technology goes beyond production technology. The processing is very critical. In addition to many other technologies in the whole value chain, I think processing is the most critical one. As I have traveled in Africa and Asia, they do not have good processing facility. We waste lots of food. The quality is very low. The urban consumers don't want to consume the locally processed food. Instead, they wanted to import foods from Asia, from Europe, from Latin America. So I think the technologies should also cover the processing or the post-harvesting sector. And policy. Mark mentioned a couple of policies. I think as economists, the policy analysts should not just to propose good policy. Equally important is to shoot down the bad policy. But whether a policy is good or bad really depends on timing, depends on location. That's a subsidy. Is subsidy really a bad policy, or is it a good policy? I don't think we have an answer. It really depends on time and location. As I remember, in the earliest, maybe 70s or maybe late 60s, India used subsidies, fertilizer subsidies, energy subsidies, to promote smallholders' access to technologies. I think that sort of subsidies probably were good ones. They helped farmers to access to technologies, to correct market failures, because market will not deliver these technologies to farmers. To me, initial subsidies is to correct the market, to bring the value to the whole society. So the total benefits for the whole society are much greater than total costs. But as time moves on, India continued to subsidize its rice wheat production. And it has become bad. That policy has become very bad. How can we really phase them out? To phase it out becomes a good policy. It really depends on time. Now today, I think certain subsidies in Asia is bad, China, India, and probably some targeted subsidies to correct market failures in Africa is good. So what I'm telling you is there's no silver bullet, there's no answer that this is a good policy, this is a bad policy. Politics. Yes, we do need to have good politics. Good politics, good leadership can help us to promote the sustainable intensification for nutrition. But here, I wanted to emphasize the data, knowledge, information is very critical to move to the right politics. I remember when I was in India, the vice chairman of the planning commission, Montek Odawadia, told me that, oh yes, I know all this good policy proposed by IFPRI, but my politics does not allow me to fix this, because my job is not to make you happy, is not to make the right policy. My job is to make my Congress remain to be in the power, and the subsidy was the way. So the data information, the research results have to be communicated to general citizens, let them know that you actually have a much better option. That comes to my last point, that is communication. How can the policy analysts, scientists can communicate better science using the simple language like what Gordon has done? So right now we have seen anti-science movement, right? Whether through internet, through political debate, right? They don't believe in science. They don't believe in scientists. The GMO is bad, right? I mean, Gordon, I'm very surprised today you have not mentioned GMO once today. you used to be a champion. So I think we needed to better communicate our data, information, research results to general citizens, so that the general citizens are empowered with knowledge information so they can push their political system to make sure that we select the right people, we elect the right people, then we push the right policy and achieve the right results. So once again, let me thank you. Thank you very much for coming.